I found out I wasn't invited to my sister's wedding while holding a paper plate of macaroni salad at a family barbecue. It was June, hot enough that the plastic forks bent when you tried to scoop potato salad. My aunt had just put on a Tracy Lawrence playlist. Someone's toddler was crying near the bounce house. That's when my cousin Priya walked over from the grill, hair flipping out of her face with one hand, hot dog in the other. "So," she said cheerfully, "are you flying out for May's big day or just driving in?" I blinked. "What big day?" She laughed, thinking I was being sarcastic. "The wedding, silly. She's finally marrying that guy with the hair gel. James, right?" I smiled like I knew exactly what she meant. "Oh yeah, right." Then I excused myself to go check on the deviled eggs, which was code for sitting in my car with the AC on high, trying to breathe through the strange, sudden silence in my chest. May was my baby sister. I helped raise her after Dad died. I held her hair back when she got sick at her first college party, wired her money more than once when she forgot rent was due. I was the one who mailed her a weighted blanket during her first panic attacks, the one who stayed on the phone with her the night she thought James was cheating. And now she was marrying him, with floral arrangements and a venue and apparently a guest list that didn't include me. I sat in my car for 10 minutes trying to decide if I was hurt, angry, or just tired. The answer was yes to all three. Inside the house, someone had cut into the strawberry sheet cake. From the window, I could see Priya chatting with my mother, who wore her usual soft blue summer dress and looked perfectly composed, as if everything in the world was just the way it ought to be. I looked at the plate in my hand. The macaroni was sweating in the heat. They'd planned a wedding my sister didn't even mention, and somehow I was the only one who looked surprised. I waited 2 days before I called my mother. It wasn't because I needed time to calm down. I wasn't angry exactly. I wasn't even looking for an apology. I think I just needed to hear her say it out loud, that they'd planned all of it without me. She picked up on the second ring. "Hi, honey," she said in that warm, efficient voice she used with store clerks and church volunteers. I could picture her in the kitchen, wiping down the counter with a dish towel, phone nestled between her cheek and shoulder. "Everything all right?" "I just have a quick question," I said, trying to keep my tone light. "Is May getting married?" A pause. A breath. The sound of a refrigerator closing. "Well," she said, as if I'd asked whether the mail had arrived. "Yes. Next month, actually. We didn't know if you'd be free." "I didn't know it was happening." She chuckled lightly. "Oh, Aiko, don't be dramatic." That word again. Dramatic. It was the same tone she used when I cried at Dad's funeral and she told me to pull myself together. The same one she used when I called her in tears after losing my job 5 years ago. "Don't catastrophize, sweetheart. You'll land on your feet." I let the silence settle between us. "You know," she continued, "May really wanted something small, just family." "I am family." She sighed. "Yes, but you're always traveling, and these things get complicated. James's parents had a lot of input. There were limited spots. You understand?" I didn't. But I knew better than to say that. "You're not mad, are you?" she asked, suddenly softer. "I'm not sure what I am." Another silence. This one heavier. "We thought it would be easier this way. Less pressure on everyone." Easier. That was the word. It wasn't that they forgot me. It's that I was the easy one to erase. I told her I had to get back to work, though I wasn't working that day. She said, "All right, sweetheart." And just like that, we hung up. I stared at my phone for a long time. Then I opened my calendar, scrolled to next month, and looked at the weekend of the wedding. Nothing scheduled, no RSVP, no seat. I didn't slam doors or post anything online. I didn't call May to demand an explanation or draft a long, sad message no one would answer. Instead, I bought a ticket to Iceland. I didn't tell anyone, not my coworkers, not my neighbor who usually brought in my mail when I was gone, not even my friend Yuki, who had stood beside me through 2 breakups and a layoff and knew my coffee order better than the barista. I just stopped answering things. That Friday, I submitted a vacation request to HR, packed a small suitcase, and left a single sticky note on my fridge. "Gone. Don't wait up." The flight from Boston to Reykjavik was quiet. I didn't watch a movie. I didn't read. I stared at the flight map on the tiny seatback screen, a glowing white line arcing over Greenland like a scar. By sunrise, I was standing in a rental cabin carved into a hillside of volcanic rock, half covered in moss and silence. The lake outside looked frozen, even though it wasn't. The windows fogged over in the morning. The shower smelled faintly of sulfur. I loved it immediately. For 24 hours, I didn't check my phone. The second day, I took a walk down to the edge of the lagoon. There was a wooden bench, half buried in snow. I sat there until I couldn't feel my hands. I took a photo. It wasn't perfect. I wasn't smiling. Just a figure in a wool coat, sitting by still water under a white sky. No caption, no tag, just the image. I posted it to my Instagram story. Within 10 minutes, the scene list lit up. May, my cousin Priya, my mother. No one said a word. I didn't expect them to. That wasn't the point. The point was that they saw me. Not at the bridal shower, not at the rehearsal dinner, not at the wedding planning brunch I hadn't even heard about. But here, in a country of glaciers and steam and silence. I had become momentarily visible. I posted nothing the next day, just lived. I drank bitter coffee from a ceramic mug and watched the fog roll in over the lake. I wrote in my journal, nothing poetic, just lists of things I didn't have to do here. No small talk, no pretending I was fine, no RSVP, no gift registry, only me and the sound of ice shifting in the wind. I knew the wedding was that weekend, though no one had said the date out loud to me. I figured it out the same way you learn most things your family doesn't want you to know. From social media insider comments. My cousin Hannah had posted a boomerang of champagne flutes clinking beside a caption that read, "Love is in the air." And someone else tagged a boutique hotel 2 hours outside Albany. That was enough. Saturday morning in Iceland was silver and quiet. I sat by the window with a blanket over my legs and watched the light creep slowly across the lake. There were no church bells here, no wedding playlists or bridesmaids laughing behind closed doors. Just snow, steam, stillness. Maybe May was walking down the aisle in something lace and sleeveless, our mother crying on cue. I imagined soft lighting, pastel flowers, filtered joy. And somewhere in the photos, there would be a missing chair. Not obviously. They'd have filled the seat or rearranged the row, but I knew where I was supposed to be, and I wasn't there. That night, I posted a new image. It was just my hand holding a ceramic cup against the backdrop of the frozen lake. The sky was lavender, my nail polish chipped slightly on one finger. Nothing glamorous, nothing posed, no caption. Again, the scene by list rolled in within minutes. May, our mother. 2 of her friends I hadn't spoken to in years. Still, no one messaged. Still, nothing was said. But this time I could feel it. The quiet had shifted. It was no longer absence. It was presence withheld. I imagined them scrolling through their phones between dances or desserts, seeing my post in a moment of pause and wondering if it meant something. It did. It meant I knew. It meant I was watching. Not out of jealousy or malice, but because I had once mattered here. And now I didn't. Not enough to be invited, but enough to haunt the edge of the frame. I didn't post again for 2 days. Let them notice the silence. Let them fill it with whatever story they needed to tell themselves. I had nothing to add. 3 days after the wedding, I woke up to the sound of my phone buzzing on the nightstand. It was barely 6 in the morning. Outside, the sky was a pale gray, the kind of color that made you forget the sun ever existed. The phone kept buzzing. Messages, missed calls, more messages. At first, I thought maybe someone had died, but the names on the screen told a different story. Sora, Aunt Keiko, my mother, then May's college roommate, then finally Yuki, the only one who ever really told me the truth. Her message was short, no greeting, no build-up. You need to see this. She attached a link, a TikTok, no context, just a thumbnail of what looked like a reception hall and something blurry flying through the air. I hesitated. I wasn't sure I wanted to open it. I wasn't sure I wanted to know. But I clicked. The video started mid-chaos. Shouting, gasps, movement. A bridesmaid was screaming. Not in joy, but fury. her voice cracking as she threw a bouquet across the room, not in ceremony, but in rage. People were standing, turning, backing away. Someone knocked over a centerpiece. Glass shattered somewhere off-screen. Then the camera found May. She was crying. Not delicate tears, but shaking, red-faced, mascara running. She was yelling something, though the audio was distorted. The voice that came next was clearer. "You were my best friend, May, my maid of honor, and you were sleeping with him the whole time." The voice belonged to Gia, her best friend since freshman year, the same girl who helped plan the bachelorette trip, the same girl who apparently had planned on marrying James herself. My stomach dropped. Another guest's voice, this one half laughing in disbelief, said, "That's the maid of honor." The camera panned just enough to catch James, frozen between them, hands raised like a man trying to tame wild animals. He said something no one caught. It didn't matter. The crowd had already started to move. Guests whispering, grabbing coats, gathering purses. One woman walked out with her napkin still in her hand. The video ended with May sinking to the floor. I watched it twice. Then I turned my phone over and stared at the ceiling of my cabin. The wood beams creaked in the cold. Somewhere outside, a bird made a sound I couldn't name. The buzzing started again. Voicemails, missed calls, new texts piling on top of the old. No one said the words, but they didn't have to. "Please call me. Your sister's a mess. We need you home. Aiko, please." By noon, I had a voicemail from my mother, her voice wobbling in and out like a radio signal from another life. In it, she said May wasn't eating, that the family was embarrassed, that people were talking. She didn't mention me being right. She didn't apologize. She didn't ask how I was. She just said, "We don't know what to do without you." I sat at the window, bare feet pressed to the cold floor, watching the lake ripple under wind. My phone buzzed again. This time, it was from Gia. Not a call, just a message. "I'm sorry you weren't there. You probably would have stopped me." She was wrong. I wouldn't have stopped her. I would have let the truth find its way in, just like I did. By early afternoon, my phone had stopped ringing and started pleading. The voicemails were no longer brisk or annoyed. They were softer now. My mother left 6 of them in under 3 hours, each one a little more afraid than the last. In the third, she was crying, or trying to. Her voice cracked in places it never used to. "Aiko," she whispered, "your sister is devastated. I don't think she's left her room since Saturday. We don't know what to say to her. We need you home. You've always been the strong one, the one who holds everyone together." That line again. The strong one. The one who knew how to carry things, who never asked to be carried. I didn't respond. Instead, I boiled water for tea and stepped outside, letting the steam warm my face while the wind cut through my sleeves. The sky above me was endless, low-hung, quiet. I took a photo of the horizon, faint pink light resting on the edge of a glacier, and posted it without a word. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. "She's not well. She keeps asking for you. Aiko, please. Just 5 minutes." That one was from my father's sister, a woman who once told me after Dad died that older daughters are like extra mothers. I was 15. I watched the snow drift across the porch step and said nothing. That evening, a message came in from May herself. Not a call, just a text. "I know I hurt you. I didn't think it would matter this much. I thought you didn't want to be part of things anymore. Please. I need you. I don't know who else to ask." I stared at the message for a long time. Not because I didn't believe it, but because it was the first real thing she'd said to me in years. But it wasn't enough. Not after all the times she had taken my help, but not my presence. Not after letting me fade out of the family photo without asking if I was still standing there. They didn't miss me. They missed what I did for them. And now that everything was falling apart, they wanted the scaffolding back. But I wasn't made of steel anymore. I had become glacier, cold, still, unmovable. It was almost midnight when the phone rang again. This time, I picked up. Not out of forgiveness. Not because I'd softened. I just didn't want the silence to say everything for me. "Aiko." My mother breathed like she'd been holding her voice for hours. I didn't speak. She waited, then filled the space the way she always did, with explanation disguised as care. "She's not doing well," she said quietly. "May. She barely eats. She doesn't come downstairs. She keeps asking if you've responded." I could hear the clink of something ceramic in the background. Her kitchen, most likely. Probably the same blue teacup she always used when she needed to appear gentler. "I wish you were here," she added. I looked out the window of my cabin. Outside, the lake had turned to glass. The sky was low and endless, the kind of cold that made sound feel smaller. I said finally. "For years. You just didn't see me." There was a pause. Not defensive, not quick. Just still. "I didn't know you felt that way," she said, her voice thinner now. "You never said." "No one asked." She let out a breath. Not quite a sigh. Just the sound of realizing there's no script left that still works. "I'm sorry," she said, but it came out like a question. I didn't answer. Somewhere in the silence she understood, because for once she didn't try to fix it. No excuses, no soft rewrites of history, just the sound of her breath, the faint chime of a clock in the background, the quiet of two people realizing something had ended a long time ago. And this was just the echo. "Are you coming home?" she asked after a while. I looked around the room, the wooden floor, the wool blanket on the chair, the sound of wind against the windows. Everything simple. Everything mine. "No," I said gently. "I think I'm finally home." We didn't say goodbye. We just let the call fade. I sat there a while, listening to the quiet. It didn't hurt anymore. It didn't comfort me either. It just felt true. The next morning, I woke early. The cabin was still, the kind of stillness that doesn't ask anything from you. I wrapped myself in a thick sweater and stepped onto the back deck. The lake below was smooth as glass, reflecting the pale gold of a rising sun. The sky stretched wide and empty, and for once, that emptiness felt like peace. I made tea, scribbled a few lines in my journal, then pulled out the thick stationery I'd brought from home but never used. I wrote one letter. Short, plain, no accusations. No lists of what had been done or left undone. Just this. "I hope you find peace. I hope you tell the truth. I hope next time the invitation comes before the apology. Aiko." I signed it with my full name, folded it carefully, addressed it to the house I grew up in. No return address. I walked into town later that day and dropped it in a red postbox near a bakery that smelled like cardamom and ash. The man behind the counter nodded as I passed, recognizing me from the morning before. "Cold today," he said. I smiled. "Not as much as yesterday." On the way back, I stopped by the edge of the lagoon. A single bench faced the water. I sat for a while, sipping coffee from a paper cup, watching the steam rise and disappear. My phone was still in my pocket, untouched. When I returned to the cabin, I posted one last photo. A chair, wooden, empty, framed by snow. Beyond it, the lake. No caption. But I knew they'd see it. Not because they followed me, but because people always notice what's missing once it's too quiet for too long. That night, I didn't check messages, didn't scroll, didn't wonder what they were saying back home. Instead, I made soup. Lit a candle, pulled a blanket across my lap, and read the same page of a book 3 times. Not because I was distracted, but because I wasn't in a hurry to leave the quiet. There was no victory in this. Just clarity. No closure. Just space. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel erased. I just felt free.